it was so funny because it's like he obviously gets home and the way he's got his headphones in, and I'm like, why does this feel strange? Like something just felt weird. He's on the couch. I was like, oh, this is
Yeah.
like Civil War. But then someone put it next to each other, and it's like exactly like Civil
Yeah.
War. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of clever.
The first Dune film got 10 Oscar nominations. Dune Part 2, I think, is by any metric a better film and has only managed to get 5 nominations. It is criminal that Dennis didn't get a directing nomination again. 2 films in a row is crazy. Invincible Season 3. They listened, and that's all you can actually ask. They've gone out, they've gone, right, we know you guys didn't like that. We've been working hard because it's been non-stop since we got the green light and we know we're going to be around for a while. If Marvel asked me to be Spider-Man, I am dropping you and moving to America so fast. Hello and welcome back to episode 147 of Cutscene Convos. We had a little hiatus. Horizontal lied last time we were out, and I said we'll be back next week, and he just sat there quietly. He had to go be a decorating mastermind.
I didn't lie. In a court of law, you're the one that said it. I just said, see you next time. So
it was a guilt of omission. I think
don't know what you mean.
What it would be called. But we're back. We're back. Yeah. And as always, there's lots to get through. We've got character profile on Dagger. We have got a preview of Invincible Season 3. The first 2 episodes of Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man are out. We have the Oscar nominations for 2025. And as always, we have the Nerd News Network. But for all that good stuff, Horizontal, how's a couple of weeks been?
My couple of weeks have been good. I mean, as we've alluded to, I ended up unfortunately having to push back a week. I kind of thought I might get away with it, but I was going to my sister's to decorate, and I was going there under the impression we were doing the kitchen, hallway, stairs, landing. And so was my sister. And then my brother-in-law, who had taken a week off work, was not someone who enjoys doing DIY, which is fair, not everyone does, was of the attitude of, I don't want to do any more decorating after this week, so we are getting it all done. And I was like, right, fair.
We're doing 1 week of decorating, and then I don't want to hear the word decorating for 6 years. Yeah,
basically.
Valid.
So yeah, we might as well. We basically did the whole house bar like 2 rooms that were already done.
Nice.
Yeah, my shoulders, neck from doing ceilings was a bit rough by the end of it. But yeah, we managed to get through it all, and I did I think it was 5-6 days straight of decorating. Which,
nice.
Even for me, I'm like, okay, I don't want to do any more now. But then my family, like my auntie and cousins, like, oh, if you want to do more decorating, we've got our house in your next room. And I'm like, yeah, here's my day rate.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's then been just chill since I got back, playing Marvel Rivals, trying to finish up a portfolio. It's like final bits getting put together now.
Yeah, you're getting there with it.
Yeah, it's just one of those where it's like, it takes me, it's like I've got to force myself to start doing it, and then once I'm doing it, I'm like in a flow of doing it.
Yeah.
But it's like one of those things where I look at it as a task, and I'm just like, oh, I don't want to start this. I'd rather go play Marvel Rivals.
The flow state tasks are the worst thing ever, because you're absolutely right. Once you get going, it's not a big deal. But it is that building up the momentum to get going is the worst thing in the world. I'm the exact same when I need to write scripts for videos or anything. I really just don't want to. I'd rather play the game. But once I force myself to sit down, I'm like, yeah, now I'm going. But yeah, it's the worst when you have to try and get yourself going with something.
Exactly. How's your week been?
How's my
couple of weeks
been? Yeah, not too bad. We were back at the football last weekend, which was nice. After a little hiatus over winter. But yeah, other than that, I've just been kind of chilling. I was recording a TCG video, trading card game shop video. And I just completely fucked the estimation of how much effort the video was going to take on a magnitude I didn't know was possible. So I'd saved up £10,000 in the game, and I was going to spend it all on packs and just open them all. It was like a cool
Smart
video.
business move.
Yeah. And I sat down to do it. We had a really busy Saturday because there was a photographer at my parents' house taking pictures because they've listed the house. So my family around here, and then Jenna's car, the clutch died.
Oh yeah, the car stuff.
And then I took my car to get its MOT and it failed. So then we got back from all of that, and I managed to get nothing done at all during the Saturday. And I'm like, right, I'm going to go record this video quickly. It should only take me like half an hour maybe. And in the first part of the video, there's a bit where I've got like a little montage of me opening packs, and it goes from me looking like this pretty awake to literally slumped to my chair like this. My eyes fall like I've been doing this for 2 hours. I can't do it anymore. Yeah. So in the end, I think it took 6.5, maybe 7 hours to open all of the packs, and then about another 3.5 to 4 hours to edit the 2 videos that I got out of that.
How's your shop doing while you were busy opening packs?
Well, the good news is, if you don't open the shop, time doesn't pass. So in game world, I opened 10,000 packs, £10,000
in
worth
one morning.
of packs in 0.1 of a second.
Scam, cheating.
But yeah, so don't get me wrong, it was a lot of fun. But my God, I don't think I'll ever underestimate something like that ever again.
So you can do that quite quickly with real cards. You just buy a really rare pack for £10,000 and just have them from one.
I was like, I tend to like when you like do like stock replenishments in the game. It's like relatively expensive. I was like, oh, this isn't like it's a lot, but it's not like insanely more. It should be fine. And then I sat there and I worked out, and it was 105 boxes with 32 packs a box. So it's 3,360 packs.
Yeah.
It just adds up quick, and like I had all the sliders on max speed for ripping through the cards and stuff. It was like I literally went as fast as I physically could. It was craziness.
Speed running.
It's ridiculous. But yeah, that kind of took up all my time, so I didn't even stream last week. Because I was trying to get that done and out of the way so I could move on with my life. But yeah, other than that, I'm all good, man. I'm big chilling. Let's get into our first segment this week. As always, the character profile.
Yes.
Last time out, we did Cloak's character profile.
We did.
So it only makes sense this week for us to cover Dagger, the other part of that duo. So, without further ado. While darkness is something that must be accepted as a superhero, they must always strive towards the light. This is exactly what Tandy Bowen does as the superhero Dagger alongside her teammate Cloak. First appearing in the Spectacular Spider-Man number 64 back in December 1981, Dagger is a beacon of hope for the helpless of New York. Born into a rich suburb of Cleveland, Ohio, Tandy always played second fiddle to her mother's incredibly successful modelling career. The same career that made their life comfortable also left Melissa, Tandy's mother, horrifically self-centered and neglectful towards her daughter. This lack of caring only worsened when Tandy's father left for a spiritual rebirth in India. And then, when her older boyfriend left for college, Tandy felt completely abandoned and alone. Tandy decided she couldn't stay a moment longer and left for New York City. At a bus terminal in New York, Tandy was robbed but a homeless teenager, Tyron Johnson, stopped the robbery and protected her. As a way of saying thank you, she bought him some food and they became fast friends. Tandy was then offered food and shelter by some men and keenly accepted. However, Tyrone was skeptical and decided to tag along. This decision changed both of their lives irreparably. The men were working for Dr. Simon Marshall, a scientist for the Magia, who had been working on a new synthetic replacement for heroin. They had been trying this new drug on runaways and homeless people and anyone else they could find. This project had yet to yield any results, but had a nasty side effect of killing all of its test subjects. That was until Tyrone and Tandy. For reasons that aren't particularly clear, they survived the drug experimentations and received otherworldly powers. Tandy became a light force generator, the light force being the literal embodiment of life. She can use her powers to heal and also to create constructs that most commonly take the form of daggers. She uses these daggers to attack enemies and disrupt their life force, leaving them anywhere from dead to an experience scary enough to get them to reconsider their life choices. Using their powers, they managed to escape their captors. However, issues began to show when Tandy didn't use her powers for an extended period of time and exploded light energy. And therefore, she also became ill and developed a fever. This was when they discovered she could use her excess light force to satisfy Cloak's hunger and allow her to control her symptoms, as this would only worsen if she didn't use her powers often enough. Once they got revenge against Dr. Marshall, Dagger began to worry about the potential dark path her and Cloak were headed for. So instead, she decided they should use their powers to protect the weak and innocent of New York from being abused in the same way they were. I think a lot of the time with Cloak and Dagger, it's very much seen as Cloak's a little bit of the monster who's not himself anymore and is like almost a victim to otherworldly urges to consume.
Yeah.
But there is like a very real danger with Dagger as well. I don't know if it's like explicitly stated, but she's kind of more opened up to her emotions as a result of this light force.
Uh-huh.
She's more receptive to how other people feel. Like imagine like almost like a super empath.
Yeah.
And if she doesn't use her powers, she literally begins to like burst at the seams and she gets an uncontrollable fever and it could just explode. But if she used her powers too much, she could risk death herself. Because she's using her own light force. And while she generates it, she can still run out.
Yeah.
So what that ends up creating is this like really satisfying like yin and yang situation where she's able to siphon off her excess to Cloak, which keeps him able to be kind of himself and in control.
Yeah.
The weird thing is, and like I don't think it's been discussed in either of the character profiles. A lot of the time, they are viewed by the public as like a brother-sister dynamic.
Uh-huh.
They are absolutely in a relationship. Don't get me wrong, there have been times they've broken up and dated other people, but they are in a relationship. They've always kind of been intended to be that way.
Yeah.
And it just kind of furthers this whole they are like the whole idea of like marriage on a religious level and even in a legal way is you become one entity together.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like that kind of idea is encapsulated even further in Cloak and Dagger.
Yeah,
Because
true.
they literally cannot live without each other, because without each other they would go insane, be uncontrollable, they wouldn't have a safe outlet.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like having that person that allows you to be yourself because they don't mind seeing the worst side of you, warts and all.
Mm-hmm.
And then it also acts as like a brilliant, at the time, maybe not intended to be as brilliant as it ended up being, but a brilliant metaphor for like the drugs crisis in America at the time. And also the fact that just because someone's a drug addict, which a lot of the people they helped in the early days doesn't make them a bad person that doesn't just need help. Cloak and Dagger is a really cool character, and I'm hoping that their rise to prominence via Marvel Rivals does enough to make Marvel want to use them again, because they tried to do a TV show with them a few years ago.
Oh.
It only got, I think, one season. It wasn't bad. It wasn't phenomenal, but it wasn't bad.
Mm-hmm.
And I would kind of like to see it revisited and see if we can get because they're really cool characters that are perfect for that kind of street level stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that would be really cool.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully with Marvel Rivals, a few of these characters will get a bit of a push forward into the limelight.
If Marvel are smart, they're looking at what characters NetEase already decided they want to use, because they'll have access to that information.
Yeah,
NetEase can't use Marvel's IP without permission. They'll have to NetEase anytime they want to do a character will have to get some kind of permission.
yeah,
And Marvel can A go, by the way, this character's going to be joining the MCU around here if you want to try and have them ready for that.
yeah,
Or B, they're going to go, can you let us know who's popular in your community, who's doing really well?
yeah.
Like, yeah, there's a fuck ton of MCU characters already in the game. There's also a fuck ton of non-MCU characters in the game.
Yeah.
And that gives us a lot of wiggle room for them to go, oh, that person's popular, let's do something with them.
I mean, yeah. If they're smart, they capitalize off the new popular characters.
Exactly, completely. Speaking of the return of popular characters,
Yes.
Invincible Season 3.
I'm very much looking forward to it. I know you are. We've had a few more like screenshot sort of like images released.
Yeah. So here's the thing that I'm actually most excited about. They listened. There was a big gap between season 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And then there was a massive mid-season gap in season 2.
Yeah, which we were
and
vocal about.
Yeah, and while we were desperate for season 2, I think the entire community, if you would have given them the two options, would have said, no, we'd rather wait until March when you have it all ready and then just release it then. Instead of release what you have and then make us wait 6 months for the rest of it.
Yeah.
And they listened. And that's all you can actually ask. They've gone out, they've gone, right, we know you guys didn't like that. We've been working hard because it's been non-stop since we got the green light and we know we're going to be around for a while. Which I understand is why season 2 took longer, which is fine. And they've gone, there won't be a mid-season break. All of the stuff's can be ready at the same time. Here we go, get ready. And I'm seated, I'm waiting. It's great.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's all the things we kind of talked about that were our few gripes with season 2 seem to have been answered.
Yeah, I completely agree. And hopefully that makes the story feel a bit more coherent. I feel like, although they like had the mid-season break at a point that didn't feel insane, like it was a natural kind of break point because of just the length of the break. When we came back, I was still like, okay, that first episode, I was like, oh yeah, that happened, and this is where we are, and yeah, okay. Which is never what you want for a show like this. You want the people to sit down and go, I remember exactly what we're doing here.
Yeah, you kind of shows that do mid-season breaks and it works. Like the one that always comes to mind is Walking Dead used to do it. Of mid-season break would be a pretty significant cliffhanger, but one where it's like, oh, I'm not going to forget this. But obviously wasn't as long. But then they would come back and you're like, oh, I've been waiting to find out what happens. Whereas this was like, it wasn't like like it ended in a point that was somewhat cliffhangery, but not, like you say, it'd only been a few episodes and we were already on mid-season break. And then it's like, okay, now I've got to try and remember what happened and what was season 2, what wasn't season 1.
Exactly. And then a 3-month break when you'd only had like 4 episodes is just insane. I'd have rather waited 2.5 months for all 8 episodes to be finished and then you just go.
Yeah.
It was weird. But hey, they learned from it. That's all we can ask. We get to be excited about season 3. We know it's all coming out in one piece. And we get to continue the story. In the trailer, we've seen that Oliver is now, I'd say, about 10-year-old boy size. Obviously, we know he doesn't age normally.
Yeah, the same. And he's wearing a costume with the... Oh, for Oliver.
That is still one of the funniest gags in the trailer. It's like, Omni Boy, and he's like, he told me the O was for Oliver. Really good. I'm excited for that. I don't know quite how Oliver's story goes. I have a bad feeling.
I mean, we said that in season 2.
Because I don't feel like he's a major part going forward, and there's only really one way that goes. We know Mark gets his blue suit.
Yes.
Which, again, I don't know much about, but I know that amongst the people who have read the whole
Yeah,
way through the
fans are
comics,
excited.
they're like, that blue suit arc goes crazy.
I'm interested to see what the title screen gag is this time.
Yes, I am. I think a lot of people are assuming it's going to be all white for Conquest, I believe.
Okay.
That is based on what I've seen on Twitter. Again, I've decided not to read the comics until the show's over. At this point, I may cave. Fortunately, I have enough of a backlog that I can just go, oh, I actually really want to read something right now. I can read something else.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe that is the expectation. We're definitely going to get a lot more Viltrumites this season.
Yeah.
It's definitely building towards something. I think the big thing from the trailer that we both kind of took away was the relationship with like Cyril and like the government
Yeah.
secret agency people is probably the most tenuous it's ever been for Mark. And
Yeah,
he
obviously
clearly kind of goes a little bit anti, and they maybe overreact, or maybe Mark does go a little bit too far off the deep end.
something to like, because obviously we got shown he'd been doing training, so I'm going to guess we might get a bit of a time jump and we start off with he's been doing training. There's obviously something that's going to happen that kind of strains that relationship.
Very badly by the looks of it.
Yeah. So that could maybe be tied in with Oliver. I'm looking forward to Alan the Alien.
Always excited to see my boy Alan.
Because didn't it end with him getting onto the ship with Omni-Man?
No, it ended with them breaking out, I believe.
Okay. I couldn't
I
remember
believe
if
that was
they
the last we
broke.
saw of
It
them.
possibly was.
Because he got on the ship to, like, on purpose, and then he was
Yeah.
talking with Omni-Man, like, we need to fight back. I know that you've kind of turned. I know your son's turned. The three of us, we can pull this off.
Yeah.
And obviously, like in season 2, we got like that Alan arc where we discovered that he was like designed to like essentially be like a Groundhog Day alien that can just keep getting its arse beat
Yeah.
and comes
stronger.
back like stronger every time. So I'm kind of want to see Alan get his ass beat 3 or 4 times this season so that we can like get to super badass Alan.
I mean, one more, and I think he'll be pretty fucking nuts. But yeah.
But one thing I did notice people talking about in the trailer as well was you can actually see from like the training montage, and then when it's clearly later in the series, if you look at Mark's body, you can tell they've made him bigger.
And they've drawn him.
He's
different.
not like he's not like ridiculously big, but like they've clearly like gone, we're gonna put a bit of weight on him, bit of muscle on him, and make him look more dominating.
Yeah.
Which I think just shows the attention to detail. I know with some of the other animated projects that have come out in the last 2 years, people aren't as hot on the animation style. I think it's absolutely acceptable. I enjoy it.
Yeah, I think it's fine.
It's okay if you don't like it. You don't have to like everything about everything.
No.
I don't think when it comes to a cartoon, you should lose your mind if you don't love the animation style. Because at the end of the day, we don't sit down and watch something like Criminal Minds, which ran for like 17 million seasons, or any shows that are incredibly popular. How often do you watch TV and go, wow, the cinematography is great? Because that's the equivalent, right?
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah, I mean, there's plenty of times we complain about color grading or whatnot, but we still watch it. Still think it's
exactly.
good.
It's one of the ones where you have to accept to a degree it is a lower expense product, and I just think that's slightly more noticeable in animation.
Yeah.
But like, don't get me wrong, in the absolute top tier, if you want to be the best in your division, so like the best drama, the best comedy, the best animated show, you do have to look the best. That's why like the Penguin went out there and fucking did so well on awards. Shogun, I know a lot of people were talking about how beautifully filmed that was. But these are the shows that go out there and they're like, we are the best of the best. We're going to turn up to award shows and win 20 fucking awards.
Well, yeah.
That is difficult. And when it's already difficult for animation to compete in TV, I understand why maybe Amazon wouldn't want to throw enough money at it to get the absolute creme de la creme of animation. And here's the thing: it's still not bad. It still
No,
looks so much
I
better than the
think,
cartoons we grew up with.
yeah, I think the thing is with animation, it's like TV. Yes, you can push the range of like quality, but at the end of the day, the difference between like Penguin and Shogun and I don't know, like your CSI TV show, like that range of difference isn't huge. Whereas in animation, you can have wildly different art styles. So
Uh-huh.
because of that, artists can be more, oh, we can turn this art style that we love into an animated thing. But like when you get to that, it becomes like all art. It's just subjective to a personal taste.
Yeah,
So
I don't think it's fair to say the art style's so bad that people should be like, "Oh my god, how can you even
yeah,
watch that?" It's not like it's not difficult to watch. It might not be your preference, but they are two very different things.
yeah,
And I think sometimes people conflate the two.
yeah, agreed.
But I can't wait for it. We will be absolutely seated for every single episode of
Yes, we
it.
will. It's always
What
been
would you
good.
say it was? Is it a 3 episode launch and then one a week after that?
Uh, I don't know. Amazon does like to do that. I don't know with Invincible season 3.
Principal release schedule. Ba, ba, da, ba, 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 ba.
Yes, it is
So yeah,
doing
3 episodes, then one a week.
that seems to just be Prime's model on a lot of their
I
shows.
I'll be honest, I would have preferred they do a 2
Two,
episode launch
yeah,
just so it lasts longer.
yeah. I feel like
But if the story's written in a way that them 3 episodes to get us going are needed, it
yeah,
will make sense, and that is what it is.
but yeah. I mean, I'm happy to have 3 episodes of Invincible to watch straight away.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm very very much excited for it. It's just going to be good to get there, and hopefully this like sets us into like what they're aiming for, like a yearly cadence of series.
Hmm.
If the beginning of February every year for the next 6 years is the new season of Invincible, we're gonna be laughing. So
Yeah.
that
Then we
I
just
think
need
that's
a
exactly what we want.
regular Critical Role animated show.
Yeah, we're cooking. As much as I dislike Bezos and Prime TV is they
They're
are
doing
they are
they are
one of
doing
my they're
well.
one of my faves at the minute.
Hmm.
Right, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Yes. Highly
We weren't
anticipated
sure. Yeah,
and discussed.
here's the thing: you can never not be very curious about a new Spider-Man project. He's the
Mm-hmm.
biggest superhero in the world. How can you not go Spider-Man? Like
Yeah.
that's just.
Yeah.
I mean, even in the chat today, West, our friend West, doesn't pay that much attention to Marvel anymore. We were talking about. He's like, "Well, can I watch the new Spider-Man cartoon?" Like,
Yeah.
let's be clear here: Spider-Man, Batman, and Superman
Mm.
put butts in seats in a way no other heroes do.
Yeah.
I think if the Fantastic Four film this summer does well, Fantastic Four could find themselves back there because they used to be that kind of tier.
Yeah.
But when Fox bought them, Marvel Comics
Oh.
sidelined them a little bit and it got messy. But I was excited for the show, but I was a bit apprehensive because of like the conceptual rewrites it had, with it initially being an MCU prequel and then them scrapping
Yeah.
that idea. I was a little bit concerned because of the animation style in the trailer. A lot of people hated. We weren't
Yeah.
against it, but we weren't sure if it would work across a 30
Yeah.
minute episode. And we just didn't really know what to expect because it seems like it's set up to be quite a lived in universe.
Yes. It was like the trailer showed off the art style, which has had mixed opinions going into it. And like you say, with the different rewrites and stuff, it was hard to know what this story is going to be like. Like a lot of the Marvel stuff has been gone through rewrites and different shows have. So far they've been good, but obviously
Yes.
you don't know. But I mean we got the first 2 episodes today. I
I
I very much like the art style.
I think it works really well in the way they're showing us the show.
Yeah, I think it does too. My only ask, and maybe this will be answered across the next few episodes, but I would like more of the like comic panel effect cuts because they did
When
it a
they
few
do,
times.
it sells it so well.
Yeah, they did it a couple of times in episode 1, less in episode 2. But I'm like, I hope, I want more of it because it works and it adds to this art style.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd rather
It makes
let
the
in
art
it.
style make sense.
Yeah, it helps just lean into it more. Like, it's a cool effect, and it helps sell this art style more than if they just don't really touch that again going forward.
Mm-hmm. So, I only have one story gripe thus far.
Okay.
And it might be a okay boomer complaint, I don't know.
Okay. Boom.
I dislike them making it so Ben died before he had his powers.
Oh.
And that is because a core part of Spider-Man is he has his powers, he doesn't use them effectively.
Mm-hmm.
Ben dies while he's got his powers and he's struggling a little bit. And as a result, you get this hero complex Peter has of he has to save everyone. Now, we spoke last week about how Peter Parker's becoming a little bit babified in the sense of he's just a baby, he doesn't mean to do anything wrong, he's trying his best. When in actuality, Peter Parker is, for all of his good qualities, also a bit of an arsehole.
Mm.
And it comes across in the sense of he's trying so hard to be perfect that eventually, when someone is just being a person and it doesn't suit his need to try and be perfect, he's a dick for no reason. Kind of like what we see in like the Raimi films, actually, where he's like really horrible to MJ for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, people on the internet try and make that out to be MJ's fault. It's actually not. It's Raimi nailing Peter Parker as a bit of a dick.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the beauty of it, right? When he was originally written in the 60s and he was being a bit of a dick, the whole idea was, as a teenager, reading the comic, you were like, yeah, I get it, he's trying really hard, but sometimes it's just too much, because guess what? You're going through puberty. Everyone, when they're a teenager, would explode for no reason. Now imagine that, but as well as all of the normal high school bullshit that you have to deal with, there's also a man with 4 metal arms trying to kill you. Yeah?
Yeah.
And they are absolutely removing a bit of that, which is bad.
That.
But the one thing I cannot abide by them getting rid of is the notion of Ben dying before Pete has his powers. I think that is crucial to the character in a way that I can't really look past. Now, don't get me wrong, that won't stop me enjoying the show if it's well written from here on, but it's a mischaracterization that does really matter to me.
Yeah.
And I get the thing will be they didn't want to waste an entire episode on Ben dying again. But they didn't want him to have his powers from the get-go. I get that that's the dilemma they had. But I'm not happy with the solution they came up with.
Yeah, it's tough because like the other alternative is if they do it the way they did, where they show that moment of him getting bit and then time jumping forward, so we skip the kind of like, I don't know how I've got powers now, what the fuck's going on? We skip that because we've seen that loads. We don't need to see that all the time. The problem is if you also have Ben die, like if you made out like Ben was around but we didn't see him at the beginning, and then like, oh, there's now we're just gonna kind of accept Ben's gone, but you didn't show us all that, it wouldn't, I think it would feel weird.
I get why they've done it.
Yeah.
I just don't agree with it, and that's the beauty of art, isn't it? You can go, I see why you've done it, I just don't like it. I'm okay with the change of how he got his powers.
Yeah, I didn't mind that. I enjoyed that I was like not expecting to get Doctor Strange.
Yeah. So he's obviously fighting a symbiote being there.
Yeah, I was like, is that a Venom?
Yeah. Well, you're going to piss people off.
Well, no, there's
retract it. There isn't. Oh my god, be gentle with him.
Okay.
Venom is Eddie Brock and the symbiote. They are Venom.
Okay.
So, like, there are times where, sorry, a little bit of tangent. You'll get times where people are like, oh, I love it when Peter has Venom. It's like, Peter literally never has Venom. That doesn't happen once. Peter has the symbiote suit. but he doesn't become Venom until he's with Eddie. But yes, it is a symbiote creature that Doctor Strange is fighting.
Well, yeah.
But what I find really interesting about that is, I think we've discussed it in the past. So we have like spider totems, and that's
Yeah.
kind of like the mystical side of Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
I think they've done it this way instead of it being like lab-grown experiment spider that just bites Peter. I think they've done it this way to maybe have the option to lean into spider totem mysticism stuff later down the line. Because it's much easier to go weird spider from somewhere else in the fucking universe.
Yeah, I did wonder, because it also, I guess, could tie into... I guess it could be a way around the Ben situation of being like, down the line, like, well, technically, he wasn't ever going to be Spider-Man in this universe.
Mm.
And then
It's
a
just-
random spider from another universe happened to bite him.
I'm curious about it, but like other than that, that is my only individual story gripe in these 2 episodes so far. Now I know you're not as familiar with Spider-Man characters as me, so I'm going to run you through a couple of notable mentions.
Okay.
Lonnie Lincoln, the football player genius who's Pete's best mate and is an absolute goat.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Tombstone the supervillain.
Oh.
I'm really curious to see what the fuck happens there.
Oh.
But I think we've already seen a little bit of their plan. At the end of, is it near the end of episode 1? I think it is.
Yeah.
When we see Lonnie going home.
Yes.
And he has the mother just be racist with the child and not sit next to the very friendly looking boy, and the police car just following him and keeping an eye on him. And then you see his family is struggling and he's trying so damn hard to help in any way he can. I think that is going to develop into, no matter how hard I try, these guys view me as a thug and a criminal. So I'm going to be such a good one that they still can't do anything about it. Which is, I think, a very interesting way to go with him, and I'm kind of down for it.
I also thought it was interesting how they showed right before that, when they're like leaving school, he clearly wanted to hang out with Peter or something.
He wants a friend.
He's like, I think on top of being viewed as like a criminal by the world, he also is. They're showing him be tired of being viewed as just the football guy who's too cool for having a real friend. But yeah, I'm intrigued by this character. Because
so
obviously, usually the football star is a bully to Peter.
Yeah, so that's what's really interesting. Then Pearl is a superhero known as Wave.
Okay.
And she has connections to Atlantis and Namor.
Oh.
So I'm very curious about that. I don't believe, again, I might not be right on this, I don't believe she has any kind of real relationship with Spider-Man in the comics. But I might be wrong. Then Nico Mori is one that I feel like I should know, but I don't recognise. I can't remember if they're a new character.
Okay.
I believe they might be, or they might be an idea of one. What's that? Let's see what we've got here. A relatively new character, maybe one of the Runaways. So maybe her parents are evil. So that'll be interesting.
Okay.
Obviously, we've got a big change with Dr. Connors being a woman.
Yeah.
Which I thought was I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I wonder who Pete is going to end up with. And then I spot the one on before I actually spot it's a woman, and I'm like, oh, it's Dr. Connors. And I'm like, hold on, you're a black woman. that's not Dr. Connors. Who the fuck are you?
Default Dr. Connors.
Yeah, who the fuck are you? I like her. I like that she's even more compassionate than Dr. Connors is. And don't get me wrong, Dr. Connors is always super compassionate and caring of Peter, which makes the transformation into Lizard so heartbreaking. I love this take.
I know that it would have been maybe too on the nose if they'd done this, but when I saw the one arm and obviously Dr. Connors, I'm like, oh, so this is going to be like bioengineering. And then they're like, we're doing renewable energy. And I'm like, oh, fair. I mean, I feel like it probably would have been a bit too on the nose to be like, yes, we're doing bioengineering with lizards.
Yeah, exactly. I don't recognize the other guy. I expected it to be the Jackal, whose name I forget. It's not. So I'm curious about him because he seems like a grumpy bastard.
I'm fine with
But
him just being a grumpy bastard.
yeah, if he's just like the pain in the ass of Peter trying to be a hero and deal with all of his shit,
Yeah.
perfect. Amadeus Cho is one of the members of Atlas. If you cast your mind back to the Lunar Snow character
Oh,
profile,
yeah.
he's also a Hulk.
Oh, yeah, he is.
Yes, so I'm very interested by that. I don't know if Asher is going to be revealed to be Shuri, but I'm pretty sure Asher is being voiced by the actress who plays Shuri. That voice, either they've
Yeah.
nailed the accent or it's the exact same voice. Because I
Yeah.
heard the voice, I was like, "Is that Shuri?"
I know what you mean. It's
But we know they're Wakandan,
well,
so
yeah.
like,
I liked that the like you say, they've set up the show, they want it to be similar to what we've had with Creature Commandos. They want this world to seem lived in, is going on. Clearly Tony Stark's full on with being Iron Man, with the
yeah,
whole thing in the car dangling from the mirror. And then yeah, Wakanda's mentioned. Okay, Wakanda's out in the open happily working, doing
it's
international programs.
it's it's really interesting because for the long time the MCU caused this synergy, right? Where
Mm,
in comic books they started to be drawn like the actors playing them
mm-hmm.
and all of this stuff, and everyone was at first it was like, oh my god, this is awesome, but
Yep.
then very quickly it was like, right, well, if you don't like this style of storytelling, there's now not a Marvel comic for you,
Yeah.
which was bad. And we've learned from that, and as a result, we've now got the DCU, which seems like it's going to be like we've got our Elseworlds, we've got this universe. This universe is going on. We're not starting at the beginning of this universe.
Mm-hmm.
This universe is here, and we're going to go. We want a project on this character. We're going to get a director, writer who we like, and they're going to make a character piece,
Mm.
and that's exciting. And you're exactly right that this feels kind of like the MCU's answer to that. But I'm not saying that in a sense of, oh, they're trying to copy the DCU. I think this is just the creatives who work in this world have all realized the same thing at the same time.
Well,
And when they decided this was no longer going to be an MCU show,
yeah.
they were like, right, so we don't have to worry about
What works and what
setting
doesn't.
up these other
Yeah.
characters. They're just here because guess what? Marvel has a fuck ton of heroes. We can't set up everyone who we
Mm-hmm.
want to appear.
It's almost like they've also taken a bit of inspiration from Spider-Verse and what they did with the last film, with when they went to these other Miles got to these other worlds that were clearly already well established with Spider-Man and different things. Like
Cracking on.
they're embracing this idea that, like, yeah, we're in an alternate universe from the MCU of what you know, and we're doing things our way. Now
It's really cool.
some things happen the same
Yeah.
as in the MCU though, just
Yeah.
with slightly different characters.
I've really enjoyed that homage. And
It's
this
more
is the
than just an
beauty of it.
homage. It's like a mirror
Yeah, but I
recreation.
really
It's
like
great though.
it.
No, I was like, it was so funny because it's like he obviously gets home and the way he's got his headphones in, and I'm like, why does this feel strange? Like something just felt weird. And it was
Yeah.
only later that someone, like, I saw a thing on Twitter where someone would put it literally side by side. I was like, well, it was obviously the way he's on the couch. I was like, oh, this is
Yeah.
like Civil War. But then someone put it next to each other and it's like exactly like Civil
Yeah.
War. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of clever.
So in the group chat as I was watching episode 1, I went, "Yeah, we're back. This is up mint."
You did.
Do you have any idea what scene prompted that message and what made me realize we're back?
In
I
episode
wouldn't
1.
expect you to know, but I'm just curious if you know what part would have made me go, "Fuck yeah, we're so back."
Is it? It was either when he was chasing the van and like the way he stopped it, or there was it in episode 1 where he's like, he mentioned he doesn't know his own strength yet and stuff, like that sort of stuff.
So that was episode 2 when he was fighting
Oh, okay. Oh, the flame guy.
Butane.
Yes.
No, it was when he caught the person who stole from the pizza joint, brought them
Oh.
back, gave the guy his money back, and was like, "They made a mistake.
Hmm.
We don't have to turn them in. if they promise to be better. And I'm like, yes, that is Spider-Man. He is the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. He's not out here fighting for the police. He's not out here fighting for like law and order. He's out here fighting to protect people, and that also means Spider-Man has got himself in so many jams trying to help a criminal get better. I mean, that's the entire premise of his relationship with Black Cat. Is Felicia, you could be so much better than this. Please let me help you be better than this. Like, that is his character flaw. He sees so much good in everyone that he keeps giving them chances, right?
Also, his relationship with Deadpool, constantly trying to make Deadpool be better.
Exactly, it's exactly that, and we've missed that for a little while. And don't get me wrong, like, in No Way Home, it made sense of him being so angry at Green Goblin, and him overcoming that was a very Spider-Man moment. But seeing him that angry didn't feel very Spider-Man-y. But it is a Spider-Man thing. I just realised it felt weird because we hadn't seen enough of the other end of Spider-Man, which is giving people 12 million chances. And just trying and trying again and again. And I saw that and I was like, oh my god, we are getting a young Peter Parker doing like bullshit hero stuff. He's not fighting God. No, he's stopping the criminal who stole the tip jar.
He's fighting the TikTokers on the street.
Yeah, he's protecting the guy from the bullies. He is. Do you know what I mean? He sees as a fire while he's at his internship that could literally change his life, and he's like, right, well, I've got to go and help out. I love the gag of 50. This is 51st, and then you get like the pan outside, and he's like, God damn it!
This was such a good. This building was derelict. It needed to burn anyway.
And it's like, yeah, he's kind of fighting a supervillain because Duat's like a fire suit, but it's not like, oh, I'm trying to rob $12 million and buy the country. It's some corrupt businessman asked me to come burn this down so I can buy it cheaper. That's Spider-Man shit, man. I love it so much. It feels so right.
I will say, like, I didn't even really question the pizza shop thing because I'm like, this just. I was like, this is Spider-Man. This is what he would do.
Exactly. It's so Spider-Man. I love it. The only thing that I was kind of expecting was, like, as he lands, you see the help wanted sign. I was kind of expecting him to get her the job working there. Because she was like, oh, I'm down. I'm like, I've lost my job. She's like, why don't you hire her?
Yeah.
And you need help. She needs a job. Then she won't steal. Like, proper be that, like, socialist icon of, you need someone to work. She's only stealing because she doesn't have work. We can solve each other's problems here, people. Like, it's brilliant. I love the suit. I wasn't sure I was gonna like the suit. I think the gas canisters for the shooters is fucking awesome.
It is such because, like, obviously we've had a few with the films, different ways of, like, his first suit is a bit janky.
Yeah.
I like how this is like, the loose tubes that are hanging down. Like, clearly his first attempt, like, after his fire butane, he's like, next suit's going to have to be fireproof. When he gets through the broken glass and it catches, that's obviously like a thing of like, oh, this is a problem, something that's going to have to be improved on.
Yeah. But like him changing the gas when he's chasing that van down.
Oh,
he's like, no, I need more pressure.
Yeah, he pumps up the gas so he can shoot an insane distance, can I say?
I am so, like, I was trying to be optimistic because I just tried to be about this stuff, but I was a little bit skeptical. I understood some of the early concerns and fears.
Yeah.
When I saw some of the early reviews coming out that were good, I was like, hold the fucking phone here. And I'm pleased to announce it appears we're back. This is the most Spider-Man has felt in a long time.
I liked also in episode 2 when he's in the pet shop trying to save all the different pets, and then he puts like the hamsters next to the snake, and then he goes, "Oh no, not safe."
And this is it, right? This is what Spider-Man is. Don't get me wrong, he's gonna fight supervillains. He is a hero. Yeah. That is gonna happen. But this is supposed to be Spider-Man in the early days, and it is him fumbling his way through, making a fuck ton of mistakes. But his goal, first and foremost, is save everyone.
Yeah.
That's why when he goes in before fighting the guy, he's like, civilians. Yeah. He's like, I made sure the building's empty. He's like, sweet, you made my life so much easier. They've got the banter down really well.
Yeah. They have.
And then, like you say, he goes into a pet shop and he's like trying to protect all the animals. He stops the guy who's going to burn down the block. And he's like, shit, the fishes are out of water. He's trying to save the fishes.
And then the
even though
guy's
it's
like, "Oh,
causing
you
his
not?"
actual life to crumble down.
And then he's like, "Oh, you knocked out." And the guy then wakes up a bit, and jump scares him, so he knocks him out with a slap on the back of the head. And he's like,
I love that they went to the effort of making it clear that that was a slap as well, like that.
"Yeah,
So funny. It's been so long since I've felt so giddy watching like a Spider-Man cartoon. It just captured that energy so well. I'm really excited to see what they do with it.
yeah."
I hope
The
they keep cooking.
the ending of episode 2, with him going to Osborn's office, I was like, in my head, I'm like, "Oh no, he's just finally got a chance to see you." Like, everyone thinks he's going to be in trouble, and I'm like, "Oh, he's going to be just like." He's like, "Oh, how's your first day gone?"
Yeah. Why didn't you come up to me like I told you?
Yeah, it's like, I was like, "Oh, he's gonna get there and he's gonna apologize and he's gonna go, 'What do you mean? What have you done wrong? You're fine.'" And then the reveal of, "Oh no, he's been caught on camera." I was like, "Oh shit."
Yeah.
This is gonna be interesting because we know he gets a suit off of
Yeah.
him.
So I can't remember what run it is, but there is a point where Norman Osborn isn't Green Goblin,
Right.
either because he's dealt with it or he's in like therapy or whatever. One of the million times that Peter gives him another chance,
Uh-huh.
and he kind of bankrolls Peter for a little while.
Right.
So I wonder if it's kind of that idea, and then in reality, it turns out he's just been like there's been like telemetrics in the suit that have been tracking him because Norman's obsessed and he wants to work out how to recreate his power, and that results in him doing something that turns him into a Green Goblin, yada yada yada. Um, I'm loving it. I love the detail and like the attention to detail of a bus went into the side of Midtown High and destroyed the building. Therefore, all of the students have had to go to this other school.
Yeah. I liked as well, like, the Stranger's trying to turn it back and then it gets interrupted. Yeah, but yeah, like all that stuff. And the attention to detail of like Norman Osborn knew about the fact the school, like, it was, a lot of people obviously know this school got destroyed.
Yeah.
But
they don't make like a huge deal out of it because this is New York. There's superheroes flying about all the time. You mean it's a miracle that the school you're going to hasn't been destroyed yet.
Yeah.
But what that does mean is, in a couple of episodes' time, my prediction is Midtown will be ready for them to go back. They'll go back, and that's when he will meet Harry as Peter, and then they'll become friends. Is my guess.
And that'll probably be then quarterback guy will be left on his own.
Yes.
Probably as they're starting to become friends.
I am so already, and I don't care if it takes like a couple of seasons for it to happen. When Lonnie becomes Tombstone, that is going to be a fucking gut punch.
Mm.
And Peter, they set it up beautifully because Peter's going to take it so hard when he finds out what Lonnie's become, because he's going to be like, "Oh, but you're better than this. You're such a sweet guy. You looked after me. You made sure I didn't get bullied. You were so nice to me. How did I not realize you needed help?" And it'll be one of them ones where, if they do the show right, Peter beats the shit out of himself for not helping Lonnie.
Mm.
And he gives Lonnie a million fucking chances to be better.
Yeah, probably.
We are set up for an all-timer. Just do not fumble the bag. Please, I beg of thee.
Yeah, I mean, and the last thing I'll say, the intro song
it
slaps
goes
so hard for no reason.
It goes so hard. It's so awesome. I also love, I don't know how much attention you paid to the visuals, because in all fairness, closing your eyes and bopping along to the music is so valid. The credits are also like filling us in on what he did in the few months between the bite and then waking up.
Oh, I haven't paid attention to that.
Yeah, so in that you see him developing the web shooters and fighting crime with like nothing, like just a mask on, and like the classic like becoming a wrestler for a little while and bits like that. So that's
cool.
all in like the opening sequence. Go like, this is what he did before he got here. I'm also like 99% sure that the outfit he wears is very much like Peter Parker in the 60s outfit, with the hair and the glasses being circles. That is like peak what he looked like in the 60s.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Also, one last little nod for the fellow super nerds like myself. Episode 1 was called Amazing Fantasy, and Amazing Fantasy 15 is where Spider-Man made his debut appearance. So I very much enjoyed that. And the pose where he saves Harry, and like Harry's dangling under the arm and he's spread out, that is the pose he makes on the cover of Amazing Fantasy 15.
There you go.
There you go. Just to be an absolute nerd. I need Fantastic Four in this show because they would fit the tone perfectly. Also,
I mean, I saw a thing of someone you can spot Avengers Tower in the background. So I mean,
we know Daredevil's in the show as well.
Yeah, so it's like just need a Baxter building in the skyline.
Show how important it is for Spider-Man to be street here, and then watch as film fans who give this show a chance. Like, we want this in films, and then we finally get the Spider-Man we deserve on the big screen.
And Kevin goes, "Well, we tried that, but Sony said no." Yeah. So
I still want it to be Tom Holland. Just to be clear, I do think he's the best person for Spider-Man. I just want him to be given a script befitting of Spider-Man.
Fingers crossed they're setting that up in the right direction.
Oh yeah. Let's talk about the Oscars.
Yes, nominations came out.
Yeah, they did. So we'll go through the nominations for most of the categories. A couple of ones that are of no real interest to us. Congratulations to them nominees, though. And then we'll talk about some big omissions and some of the drama surrounding the nominations. So starting off with actor in a lead. We've got Adrian Brody for The Brutalist. Timothy Chalamet for A Complete Unknown. Coleman Domingo for Sing Sing. Ralph Fiennes for Conclave, and Sebastian Stan for The Apprentice. Some people may be shocked at Timothy Chalamet being nominated for A Complete Unknown instead of Dune Part 2. I've not seen it, I can't comment, but a lot of people I trust on the interwebs have the opinion that he was much more impressive in Dune Part 2. Some people even suggested he should have been nominated for both of them. I don't know if that's against the Oscar rules, though. Would be very baller to be nominated twice in the same category for two different films.
Yeah, I imagine they can't.
There's probably a rule against it, right?
Yeah.
Actress in a lead role. Cynthia Umvaro for Wicked. Carla Sofia Gascon for Emilia Perez. Mikey Madison for Honora. Demi Moore for The Substance. And Fernando Torres for I'm Still Here. I think it's quite interesting that Demi Moore got one for The Substance, not because she didn't deserve it, apparently she's phenomenal, but The Substance was a horror film. It's not often you see many horror films get big nominations like that.
No.
So fair play. I know apparently it's an amazing film. It is on my list to get around to at some point.
Fair.
Actor in a supporting role. Yura Borisov for Honora. Kieran Culkin for A Real Pain. Edward Norton for A Complete Unknown. Guy Pearce for The Brutalist. Jeremy Strong for The Apprentice. So we're starting to see a couple of repeat names now. Honora, The Brutalist, The Apprentice. A Complete Unknown as well. Then actress in a support role. Monica Barbo for A Complete Unknown. Ariana Grande for Wicked. Felicity Jones for The Brutalist. Isabella Rossellini for Conclave, and Zoe Saldana for Emilia Perez. So again, it's like six films have got nominated across these.
We're seeing a trend this year, the Oscars.
Animated features. Flow. Inside Out 2. Memoir of a Snail. Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Foul. And The Wild Robot. Now, let me be clear. I am okay with Wallace and Gromit or The Wild Robot winning.
Same.
I will bitch like a little baby if something else wins. If Inside Out 2 wins just because it made all that money, I'm going to lose my mind.
I don't get me wrong. I would love Wallace and Gromit to win.
I can accept that because I know it was such an impressive art style. It did so well. It was like the biggest release it's ever had in America. Like
it's the biggest UK TV film release as well.
Do you know what I mean?
Like modern records. Yeah,
it absolutely deserves that nomination, and if it wins, it is a worthy winner.
But I would like The Wild Robot to win purely because like they've got snubbed a couple of times.
Yeah, that's one way
And
to put it.
but yeah, and aren't they like have even at the Oscars they are the most nominated animated?
They're the most nominated animated film for a long time at the Oscars. I don't think
Yeah.
ever, but they are like one
But
of the most
so
nominated
again,
animated
it's
films at the
like
Oscars.
if you're the most nominated at the Oscars and you're not going to win Best Animated Feature, what are these judges smoking?
It's one of them, especially when like the Oscar, other than the animation, like the two animated of the
Major.
animated roles for
Uh-huh.
a feature and a short, everything else is open bracket essentially.
Yeah.
Which means for it to get other nominations, it's had to beat out live action films, which, as we know,
Yeah.
get treated like they're a higher form of art.
Hmm.
So, in reality, if this film was the exact same quality as a live action film, then three nominations are probably coming in at like 6 or 7.
Yeah.
It's criminal. Anyway,
Wait and
I
see.
won't get angry before I have reason to get angry. Animated shorts, Beautiful Men, In the Shadows of Cypress, maybe. I'm not 100%
Cyprus.
sure. Magic Candies, Wonder to Wonder, and Yuck. I've not seen any of these, but what that does give me is a list of animated shorts that are probably worth watching.
Yeah.
Cinematography,
Uh-huh.
Lol Crawley for The Brutalist,
Okay.
Greg Fraser for Dune Part 2,
Yep.
Paul Gulahoom for Amelia Perez. I'm so sorry if I mispronounced these names. Ed Lackman for Maria,
Mm-hmm.
and Jaren Bulshik for Nosferatu.
Oh.
I want to go see Nosferatu. I've not got around to it yet. Does anyone want to pay me to make it my full-time job to just live in the cinema? Costume design. Ariana Phillips for A Complete Unknown. Lissy Crystal for Conclave. Janty Yates and Dave Crossman for Gladiator 2.
Oh.
Linda Muir for Nosferatu. And Paul Taswell for Wicked. Now, as I said, we'll get into drama later.
Hmm.
What I noticed as I was writing this up is A Complete Unknown, if you're not aware, is the Bob Dylan biopic. I
Mhm.
really struggle to believe that that film has better costume design than Dune Part 2.
I wonder if there
Gladiator,
has.
Nosferatu, and Wicked make sense. They're the kind of films I'd expect to be in there.
Yeah. My only thought of like why Dune hasn't ended up in there is I wonder if there is like a minimum amount of costumes designs that have to be new, and obviously Dune Part 2 will have reused a lot from the first one.
Maybe. But it just seems like a
But
weird
yeah,
one for it to not get nominated.
I
It,
get you.
it stood out to me. Directing.
Oh.
Sean Baker for Honora.
Mm-hmm.
Brady Corbett for The Brutalist.
Mm-hmm.
James Mangold for A Complete Unknown. Jacques Odard for Amelia Perez.
Mm-hmm.
And Coralie Fargrant for The Substance. This now marks the second time Denis Villeneuve has not been nominated for a direction Oscar for either of the Dune films, which again has caused a bit of a stir.
Mm.
But as I said, we'll get into all of that after we've gone through everything. But again, that is another interesting one.
Yes.
Documentary feature.
Okay.
Black Box Diaries, No Other Land, Porcelain War, the soundtrack de A Coup d'Etat, and Sugarcane.
Haven't seen
Got to be
it.
honest, the title, Soundtrack to A Coup d'Etat, sounds interesting.
Yeah. I mean, the sugarcane also, I'm like, oh well, gonna be some weird jungle shit going on.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got to know what this soundtrack to A Coup d'Etat is about. Documentary film about the Cold War that led American musicians to do something interesting. Okay, that does sound genuinely interesting. Might add it to the ever-growing watch list. Um, short documentaries. We
Mm-hmm.
have, I think, more interesting titles in this section. Death by Numbers. I Am Ready, Warden. Incident. Instruments of a Beating Heart. And The Only Girl in the Orchestra. They all
Interesting
sound
titles.
so enticing. I'm Ready Warden, I'm assuming is about someone on death row.
It's got to be.
That would be my assumption.
Yeah.
Film editing. Sean Baker for Honora. I didn't realise he directed and edited it.
Oh.
David Jansko for The Brutalist. Nick Emerson for Conclave. Juliette Welfing for Emilia Perez. And Myron Kirsten for Wicked.
Well.
Makeup and hairstyling. A Different Man, which is the Robbie Williams biopic.
Oh, yeah.
Emilia Perez. Nosferatu. The Substance and Wicked. Again, them last three and A Different Man, absolutely, they're the exact kind of thing I'd expect to win in competition for this award. I don't know about Emilia Perez to comment. Original score. Daniel Bloomberg, The Brutalist.
Mm-hmm.
Volker Bettelman for Conclave. Clement Ducol and Camille for Emilia Perez. John Powell and Stephen Schwartz for Wicked. And Chris Bowers for The Wild Robot.
Oh,
I will be going to bat for The Wild Robot here. I do not care about the scores of the other films. I don't care how good they might be. In reality, Wicked is probably going to win this. But The Wild Robot is beautifully scored. And if it wins, I will take that as a great victory.
I won't be surprised if the Brutalist one.
Quite possibly. Original song.
Oh.
El Mal from Emilia Perez. The Journey for the 6888. Like a Bird, Sing Sing. Mi Camino, Emilia Perez. And Never Too Late from Elton John, Never Too Late. And then Best Picture. Honora, The Brutalist, A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Emilia Perez, I'm Still Here, Nickel Boys, The Substance, Wicked.
Mm-hmm.
That is all we've got. The massive drama that I have seen most of online, and I do not have a lot of details about one of them, I'm just aware it is a thing, is surrounding Emilia Perez.
Right.
The Brutalist is a minor one, and Dune Part 2.
I mean, I've seen the stuff about Dune.
So the logic is the first Dune film got 10 Oscar nominations.
Yeah.
Dune Part 2, I think, is by any metric a better film.
Yeah.
And has only managed to get 5 nominations.
Mm-hmm.
It is criminal that Dennis didn't get a directing nomination again. 2 films in a row is crazy. It didn't get an editing nomination. So they're saying it deserves a nomination for best film purely based on cinematography? Is that what they're saying? That seems weird.
Yeah. Like, the editing one I can...
Sorry, also, nothing in makeup and hairstyling or costume design, which it's a space odyssey. Like, that's the kind of film that if it's good, you're like, well, that's going to be the 2 categories it's definitely nominated in, and it didn't get nominated in either of them. It just feels a bit weird. Original score was one that caused a lot of drama.
Well, yeah.
Because apparently too much of it was reused from the first film. Yeah. And I believe that drama got even worse when Wicked got nominated, because it's like, okay, but that was a stage show. Did they change enough for that to qualify?
Yeah,
and I don't know the ins and outs of the rules and how that worked, but it's at the end of the day,
stage, it don't count.
If the people, if we the people don't understand the decisions, I think there is a slight problem.
Yeah, I mean, I can kind of look past editing, and I could look past costume and stuff if they come out and say, well, not enough new costume designs or something. Like, I could understand that. But not getting the director one twice
is criminal.
It's the wildest of all those things. Especially, like you say, it's up for Best Picture, but you're not even going to recognise the director that has got into nominated for Best Picture.
Josh Brolin had a very interesting reaction. I believe it was on Twitter or on Instagram stories or something. He posted, it was like, I might just give up acting because if
Yeah, I saw that.
he doesn't get nominated, I don't understand what the fuck we're doing anymore.
Yeah, if he's
And I
not,
think that says a lot.
if he's not nominated as the best director, and I consider him the best director, I might as well just stop acting. It's like,
Yeah, maybe I don't know a fucking clue. The one with Amelia Perez is a much more sensitive subject, and that's why I'm going to be very delicate because I don't know enough. Amelia Perez is based on a Mexican story, but it's a French film. It was made in France, shot in France.
Okay.
It sounds like the recounting of events are not maybe faithful and dress up the person who might be the villain in the eyes of the Mexican people as the hero of the story.
Right.
Which has, in all fairness, resulted in a lot of people in America who are of Mexican heritage and in Mexico going, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be like the British, or no, not even the British actually, because we're involved in it. It'd be like the Germans making a film about what went on in Northern Ireland and acting like the British were completely in the right. Is my understanding.
Okay.
That does not mean that's what happened. That is my understanding of why people are upset.
Got you.
So whether it's a good film, whether it deserves nominations or not, is kind of secondary. I know a lot of people are like, this is a film that's claiming to be based on true events that is bastardized what actually happened.
Doing the classic of based on true stories, but for that to be allowed in the thing, all they have to do is keep one thing the same.
Yeah. So I know that's rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. Again, I don't know the ins and outs of it. I'm just aware of that.
Yep.
One thing with the Brutalist, which is a little bit techie, people are saying Adrian Brody should not be eligible for Best Actor.
Okay.
Because he has a Hungarian accent in the film. And that Hungarian accent was achieved via generative AI.
Oh.
I don't know exactly how it was done. I've seen a tweet from the director saying, yes, we used AI for the Hungarian dialogue. So there's parts of the film in Hungarian. And apparently that's when the generative AI was used. But he also said it was manually done by his team. And we're like, how can it be generative AI and manually done by your team? In the credits, they've got the required sticker saying generative AI was used. So it was definitely used in the film. But people are saying if Adrian Brody's Hungarian scenes, which is not a small part of the film, was done by AI, he shouldn't be eligible.
Yeah, I guess
And
it's
I
weird
think that's a
it's
valid complaint.
Yeah, it then comes to this is where the whole AI stuff needs figuring out, because you're going to get into the arguments of, did he record the lines in English that were then used in the program to train the voice so it sounds like him, but then turned into Hungarian? So has he done, is his performance part of what trained to make the Hungarian stuff, or is it completely generated?
I get that, but even then, I'd say that's not good enough.
Well, no.
We're talking about the biggest stage of the world. I personally would rather see Timothée Chalamet get nominated for 2 different films.
Yeah. No,
than see someone like that.
Yeah,
Don't get me wrong, it's a techie one. Like you say, there might be a level of it where they've actually, he's learned it in Hungarian and done it, and they've just put generative AI through it to just
make sure it sounds
correct. Yeah, just tweak the pronunciation slightly so it sounds native.
Yeah,
even then, that is tweaking his performance.
Oh no, I agree on
it's techie.
It is a weird grey area where it should be questioned if it should be accepted. But then this highlights the bigger issue of shit with AI needs to start. They need to start setting the rules and outlining how this affects award shows and stuff, because this is the first film probably that the Oscars has had where AI has been involved.
At least publicly aware of it. because
Well,
of
yeah.
the strikes and stuff.
So like, there's going to be more going forward. Like, we know that the film industry is going to abuse AI. Like, unfortunately, there is no getting around that, and it's going to seep into some of these Oscar nominations.
Absolutely.
So like, they need to figure that out sooner rather than later.
And the big one. Have you noticed what film that did quite well, and I still haven't seen? Not that that's going to help you narrow it down. Didn't get any nomination at all, particularly in score, which people were incensed by.
In score,
Yeah.
what came out that hasn't been nominated for anything there? I am not sure.
Challengers.
Oh yeah.
Didn't get a single nomination anywhere.
And everyone's raved about that film.
Apparently it's phenomenal, but one thing it's consistently been nominated for, no matter what, has been original score, and it didn't even get a score nomination. And people are like, of all of like, don't get me wrong, with like bigger dramas, you see more outcry, but like size of drama compared to outcry, people are livid about this. They're like, what do you mean Challengers has no nominations, not even original score?
Yeah, no, that's fair. Like,
Yeah.
the amount of good things we've heard about that film and it actually hasn't got any Oscar nominations is wild.
Yeah. I'm going to be honest, and I don't know if it's not eligible for it because of the Best Animated Feature award. Wild Robot should have been nominated for Best Picture, if it's allowed to be.
I bet there's got to be some caveat
actually, I'm
there.
just going to Google it. Can animated films be nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars? At the Oscars. Why can I not just get an easy answer?
That probably means that it can.
It has happened.
Oh, there you go.
It has happened in the past. Okay, cool. There we go. That is an official snub as far as I'm concerned.
Fair.
The fuck do you mean? But yeah, that's it. Don't get me wrong. We've discussed some of the drama around it, and there's always drama around the Oscar nomination.
Yeah,
and I think that's a good thing. But I think that's a good thing because it means people care.
Yeah.
But it's always interesting to see. Obviously, there are a fair few of the films that have been nominated a lot we haven't got around to seeing this year. They don't fall in our wheelhouse, and we do cover a lot of stuff. But there are some that I'm pretty confident maybe have been snubbed here, which is crazy. And bearing in mind some of the like potentials that have lost out on nominations, and then you find out like Adrian Brody is a brilliant actor. There is no doubt about that. But finding out any part of his role had AI involved, I'm like, I'm not sure you deserve that nomination anymore.
Yeah. Do you know who I'm glad I know for a fact did not deserve to be eligible for nomination? That's Madam Web.
I saw a tweet from someone. It was tongue in cheek, I know. Going like notable films that didn't get any nominations, and it had a list, and then right at the bottom it was like Madam Web, and I'm like, you motherfucker.
It's funny because it's like before the nominations official ones come out, they obviously released what films weren't eligible to be nominated, and I remember Madam Web being in there, and I was just like, not shocked.
Yeah. But there you have it. That is our 2025 Oscar nominations. I believe the date of when it's actually going to happen is still being nailed down. Obviously, the LA wildfires caused delays.
Yeah.
I don't know if they've relocked in a date.
A quick Google saying 3rd of March.
Okay, so they've locked it in for the 3rd of March now. Okay. It may get delayed again depending on what's going on with LA. But there we go. So we'll cover that when it happens, and we'll talk about who won what and how we feel about it. And when the wild robot gets robbed, I will burn LA down again. That's a joke.
Jeez.
Let's go to some nerdy news.
Yes, let's.
I'm done threatening ecosystems. Right. Off the top here, James Mangold, who, as we just discussed, got nominated for some awards at the Oscars. He's also working on a Swamp Thing project and a Star Wars project. The man's got his fingers in a lot of pies. Anyway, He says his Swamp Thing project will be a simple gothic horror movie. He says he knows that DC will be viewing it as a franchise, but he views it as a gothic horror story.
Yeah.
And this is once again further evidence and reason for excitement
Yes,
that
around the
the DCU is get creatives to be creative.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna go get a good horror director. He's gonna come in. He's gonna take one of our horror-ish characters and make a horror film with them, and that's fine because they're character-centered instead of story-centered, and it's good. Seeing so many directors seem quite excited to do projects for DC makes me think James Gunn's gone, guys. The lunatics are in control of the asylum. We can be creative as fuck.
Yeah, the artists have gained control.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah.
So hopefully, long may it continue. Some sad news as well in the last couple of weeks. Legendary filmmaker David Lynch has passed away. He obviously made the original Dune film back in the 80s, as well as a myriad of other projects. Apparently, he was working on some stuff when he passed away. I didn't realize he'd smoked since he was like 13 years old, and only stopped when he was like 72, so maybe like 4 or 5 years ago. And I think part of the reason he stopped was due to COVID. His emphysema from smoking was so bad that he was directing from home via like Zoom and stuff. So he stopped smoking to try and get better so that he could go back to directing in person because he loved it so much. Very sad day. Lots of amazing tributes from people who just clearly loved working with him. Always a sad day when a passionate creative person passes away. Charlie Cox has said that Born Again Season 2 will start filming before Season 1 even premieres in March.
We love to hear that because that means shorter gap between seasons.
The other thing worth noting, I didn't give it its own bullet point, but there was an article in the week, or a headline, about how the showrunner had said, what we've done differently from before is there's less just chatting and, oh, woe is me.
Yes.
I'm not taking any swipes, that's just different now. And everyone took that to mean it was a jab at Netflix and the Netflix show. It's now been revealed, as the full article has come out, that actually he was talking about the scripts before the rewrites.
Which means he definitely came in, read it, and was like, the fuck is this shit?
As we know, they changed it. Basically, no one involved was happy with it. So they did the right thing. And they went, right,
and restarted.
Start again. What did we like? What don't we like? Try again. But that comment was taken out of context by people. I'm like, oh, look, they think they're better than Netflix. This is going to be terrible. When in actuality, he was talking about an earlier version of the show that we are all thankful didn't get made.
Yeah.
More interesting news. There'll be a separate DC Studios, I think it's called a Stinger intro for Elseworlds project. So as we know, it got revealed the new DC Studios.
Yeah, with the Superman.
Stinger, with the old school Superman that flips, and we saw it for the first time in action in Creature Commandos.
Yes, we did.
And people were like, is that going to be used in Elseworlds projects? Or it wasn't shown in the Penguin. How does this work? And James Gunn's confirmed they're working on another one that will be used for Elseworlds projects, which will help you differentiate, because I'm not sure if we've discussed it. The big issue I always had with the Sony films was they have like the Marvel title card. The only difference is it says in association with, and the average viewer is not going to twig that means anything.
No, when you've got Marvel themselves have the Marvel TV intro, the Marvel animate, like they have their different ones. You see the one on the Sony, you're just like, oh, it's just part of that collection of Marvel intros.
Exactly. Whereas having an Elseworlds one, which could be quite fun, will make people go, right, that different, this the same. Brilliant.
I recall way back when I think it was announced the DCU was rebooting and stuff, we talked about the fact that the Matt Reeves Batman, would it be Elseworlds? And I think you said, I wonder if they will do an Elseworlds stinger
Yeah.
I feel
It,
like you
it,
gave an idea of one, but I forget what it was.
it makes sense. And when DC have such gorgeous branding for non-continuity stories in Elseworlds, just use it. Like Elseworlds is one of the most succinct, beautiful bits of branding to happen in comic books. It's like you've got the main story and then you've got the Elseworlds. Beautiful. Use it.
The interesting thing will be we have to pay attention now to the Batman 2. Does it have an Elseworlds singer or a DC Studios? Because that will reveal what they've decided to do with
Imagine
Batman.
if that's how they reveal
They
the
just put
path of
DC.
Batman in
Yeah,
DCU. That'd be craziness. I am anti that, but that would
I
be
know.
that'd be a nuts way to find out. Bit more canon confirmation for DC.
Yes.
James Gunn says only Creature Commandos is canon going forward. The example he used to make it simple is that we know Rick Flag Jr. is dead because Rick Flag Sr. mentions it in Creature Commandos, not because we saw Rick Flag Jr. die in the Suicide Squad film.
Yeah. I think he also, with this, said treat Suicide Squad as a dream, like a badly told dream.
Yeah, an imperfect memory, I think, is the
Yeah.
words he used. Which makes it nice and clear. If you get told something, it happened. If you didn't, it didn't. Now, a lot of this stuff might be similar to what we've already seen. Doesn't mean it happened. Relax, everything will be okay. Canon is not that deep. Can we not become Star Wars and just start screaming that everything breaks canon? If you want to love comic book media, you have to accept retcons, motherfucker. That is the one rule.
I'm looking forward to when we get Blue Beetle again, and this comes up again, and he goes, "Yeah, the only thing that's canon is Blue Beetle because he's here, and that he had something that happened at a
Something
castle
that happened, yeah,
that
exactly. Anything he mentions happened. If he doesn't mention it, it
Yeah.
didn't fucking happen. Easy. Netflix had a great Q4 in 2024. They broke 300 million subscribers worldwide, and they had their highest ever single quarter gain in subscribers. Congratulations to Netflix.
Congratulations, Arcane.
As a result of this, Netflix has once again raised its prices.
Yeah, and all the League of Legends fans leave and come back next time when the next show comes.
Here's the thing: I sit here and I haven't cancelled my Netflix subscription. I haven't. I'll be honest. But if I need to save money at any point of all of my streaming services, Netflix is the first to go. Nothing that we cover on the podcast is on Netflix.
The only thing I've watched on Netflix, like specifically gone to Netflix to watch in the last year, was Arcane Season 2 and the Drive to Survive series.
Yeah.
Drive to Survive series I can do without. Arcane, you just have to subscribe for the month when it comes.
I've got to be honest, Netflix in the way I use it, pardon me, is kind of like an extension of YouTube. Yeah, when I don't know what I want to watch, I boot it up and there will be something that I can throw on.
Just put Friends on.
Yeah. I don't go to Netflix for a show.
Unless it's specific.
Yeah. But because there's a good chance if they release a new show and I like, they're going to cut it. Like the big one is Chaos, the Greek mythology with Jeff Goldblum that came out this year. I saw that. I was like, that looks sick. I'll get around to watching that. Not even 6 weeks after it came out, I hadn't got around to watching it yet because I'm a busy dude. I have stuff to do. And they're like, it's been cancelled. They won't be making a second season anymore. And instantly, I'm like, right, well, I'm not even going to bother then.
Yeah.
And that's my problem with Netflix.
Netflix has a wild... They're
cut
Arcane,
in the worst
lucky
way.
thing for me, because Arcane's like the only thing I care about. And it's fine being on Netflix because I know if Netflix cancelled it, League will happily take that elsewhere. Like, they own all that. Like, League will just go, okay, bye Netflix. Hello, Prime. You've made video game stuff. Do you want the best video game show going? So
yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it's wild that they're putting the price up again. Something's got to give with Netflix. Like, they need to figure something out. Otherwise, people are going to start leaving.
Absolutely, and they should.
Well, yeah.
Hollywood Reporter has claimed that Ryan Gosling is in talks to star in Sean Levy's Star Wars movie. Now, I've got to be honest, we love Star Wars here. We try and be very positive about Star Wars. I didn't think Star Wars had enough juice to pull a Ryan Gosling in its current state.
I mean,
If you're a genuine A-lister,
he'll
are
just be
you
like
touching Star Wars right now?
I mean,
Are you?
I think the tough thing is, you have to be a Star Wars fan. Like, if you're just a general alien, like, oh yeah, we know what the Star Wars films, but I'm like,
Why?
you're probably not. I think an A-lister who is a genuine Star Wars fan won't care the state of Star Wars. They'll just be like, they just want to be in a Star Wars film.
Oh, so you think an A-lister would only touch it if they were a Star Wars fan?
Yes.
Oh, I thought you were saying an A-lister should only touch it if they're a Star Wars fan.
No, but I mean, that also is kind of true because
No. But bollocks. Harrison Ford never gave a single shit about Star Wars.
But I mean, at the moment, like, because if you're a genuine Star Wars fan, just you touch it, because at least you won't be disappointed when the people rip it apart, because you'll just be like, I got to be in Star Wars. You've had your high. Yeah. Your high was experiencing filming a Star Wars film. You don't care how it does. But yeah, I mean,
it is bad because I'm not an actor. I'd love to be, but it won't probably ever happen.
You never know.
I'm going to cut back to this. I'm going to cut back to this in my documentary, and I'm a multi-billionaire from films. Which just has to cut all the anti-billionaire sentiment out. But even right now, knowing the amount of abuse I'd get if I was in Star Wars, if they called me up and went, "Do you want to be a Jedi?" I would say the words "fuck yes" so fast that their heads would spin, because it's fucking Star Wars. What do you mean? Do you want to come on set and pretend you have the Force? Yes, I'm booking my flight now.
Hey, we all know you'd be cast into an Andor thing. You're not going anywhere near the Force. You're going political destruction.
Hey, if they want to write me some of their monologues, I will give an acting performance that gets me an Emmy nomination. I promise you that.
Hey, at least we know Ryan Gosling's going to probably play some silent Jedi who doesn't speak.
Yeah. In all fairness to Ryan Gosling, and this isn't Ryan Gosling's fault, he is a straight white man. Star Wars fans will not react as negatively to him.
Hey, this could be a wild cast, like Jeremy Allen White being Jabba the Hutt's son.
Yeah, like we'll see.
Who knows?
But it's an interesting one. More interesting news about our favourite franchises. Benedict Cumberbatch has revealed in an interview to Variety that he won't be in Avengers Doomsday, but he does have a major role in Secret Wars, and he's also teased that Doctor Strange 3 is in the works. I saw someone kind of do the maths based on our current timeline of what's coming out when. Yeah. They don't think Doctor Strange could happen until after Secret War.
Well, yeah, and
that again assumes that we aren't going to have another round of delays.
People have also kind of worked out, like, going off how the last Doctor Strange ended, it would sort of make sense that he is busy doing that thing that he was about to leave to do.
Well, the big thing is, of course, the end of Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness was Clea arriving and talking about incursions. Incursions is Secret Wars territory.
Yeah.
It makes complete sense that, like I said, he's trying to deal with stopping an incursion while Doomsday is happening. And Doomsday finishes, and then it's like, incursion happening. I tried. That's why I wasn't helping with the Metal Man, but here I am. Yeah. Here is another universe. You're going to crash into each other.
And also, we're kind of expecting Doomsdays to be mainly focused in an alternate universe. So it's like, it's okay to, like, not have Doctor Strange there.
And I actually think it's good a little bit. Don't get me wrong, I love Doctor Strange. I want him in as much as possible. But characters getting a bit more room to breathe, I think, is going to prolong the MCU a little bit.
Yeah.
Aaron Paul, Simu Lee, and others have joined the cast for Invincible Season 3.
Yeah, I saw like a cast list.
They added a lot of heavy hitters.
Yeah. Prime's pulling out the checkbook.
Yeah, I'm excited. So Simu Lee is playing an alternate version of Duplicate. I can't remember what his name is. it's Dupla something going for
Yeah.
masculine name. Aaron Paul is playing. Oh, I
Villain?
forget the character's name. I think it's a villain, but it's a power-based villain. It's cool. It's
Yeah.
names. Here's the thing I always struggle with animation. I want big names because it gives the show more power.
Yeah.
But I want voice actors to get work. I want them to be
Yeah.
respected. So I kind of want us to develop this rule where it's like
A good balance.
a 70-30 rule.
Mm.
But if one of the main roles goes to a superstar, it becomes like an 85-15 rule because a
Okay.
main character is a superstar. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some people who like made their name in voice acting and acting at like the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, David Tennant's done a lot of voice acting,
Yeah.
but he's also like a genuine. Is this British bias? I don't give a fuck. He's also a genuine superstar.
Yeah.
So it's like it's difficult, but like that's I want us to develop some kind of rule. If SAG-AFTRA could get working on that, that'd be great.
Do you know what I thought was funny with this? Aaron Paul is now in an animated superhero show, and he's doing that superhero Telltale game.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm so excited for
man's
that game.
just like in his superhero voice acting arc.
We were talking about this 2 weeks ago about how Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey
Oh.
just is like collecting stones on the Infinity Gauntlet with these superstar actors. And now we've got the most rogue casting choice. I think I could like if you would have given me all of the superstar names, this would not have been the next name I chose to join this cast.
No, it wouldn't.
John Bernthal has apparently joined the cast for Christopher Nolan's Odyssey. Now, he's a brilliant actor, there is no doubting that. The memes about this, however, have been cracking me up.
Is he playing the sea serpent?
Well, the thing is, a lot of his roles, he has like quite like a blue collar, almost Boston accent.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is set in Greece. Is he going to be like Cyclops? He's like, hey, what are you doing?
Just the Boston Cyclops.
Yeah, and this is the thing, people doing that, I'm like, that's really funny. But John Bernthal's a brilliant actor, I'm sure it'll be great. We've also, I forgot to write it down, it's also kind of been confirmed that Tom Holland is the lead. He'll be playing, is it Odysseus or Prometheus or whoever the main character is?
Yeah.
Um,
I also saw that apparently he was offered to film most of it in a studio, but they are doing it on location in Italy?
Greece.
Or they're going to Greece.
Yeah. So there is, amongst historians, there is a particular city where they believe Homer imagined the story to take place.
Mm-hmm.
So they're filming the majority of it there. There is also an island that was a big part of the story, and they're filming that there as well. Christopher Nolan may have gone off the deep end and gone, I'm telling this story, and we're going to make it real. We know he's like obsessed with practical effects. He made a nuclear bomb, all that shit. I'm genuinely worried now he's going to summon the Kraken.
Weta's about to get a Oscar nomination for creating a real-life animatronic Kraken in the middle of the ocean.
I cannot wait for the news report when they forget to tell the local governments that there's going to be a massive 100-foot-tall fake monster in the ocean off Greece.
First HG picture of sea monster. Monsters are real. All over Reddit subreddits.
Yeah. Craziness. The InSchneider has reported that Camille Nagia, known obviously to us from Eternals, has joined the cast for Fallout Season 2.
He's just doing a bit of multiverse stepping.
Yeah. I mean, we're both excited for
he's
Fallout
a great
Season
actor.
2 when we get it. He's a good comedic actor as well, which might just bolster... Because Fallout's a bit of a quirky, funny world. He could really sit in there quite nicely, I think.
Yeah, he could.
Natasha Lyon has said filming Fantastic Four makes her think of Interstellar in the way they're doing stuff.
And I think also said it has like Interstellar vibes with stuff, which with how Interstellar...
It's a ballsy claim.
Well, here's my brain. My brain goes to like the end of Interstellar, which you haven't seen.
No, I've not seen it.
No. The way that
I'm fully aware of it, but yeah.
The way that film ends with like the visuals of the traveling and shit, I could see that being brought in, and like
So,
obviously all the space travel and on the spaceships and stuff.
do you want me to do an odd flex for you real quick?
Oh, here we go.
So there, if I mean, you've probably seen this as well. You know how on TikTok there's like obviously people do like the pictures and the slides,
Hmm.
and they turn them into like guessing games. It's like if you guess this on the first picture, you get this many points. Second picture,
Oh,
this many
yeah.
points. There were ones for films that we were going through, and we got to one. I've gone to the first picture, which was just a picture of a field, and I went, "That is Interstellar," and I was right.
Was it a wheat field or whatever?
Cornfield.
Cornfield, yeah.
Yeah. And I got to the end of that, and me and Jenna were playing together. She was like, "You've not even seen that film. How the fuck did you know that was Interstellar?"
Just tell by the cinematography.
No, and here's the thing: I didn't realize until playing that game how, like, because we did loads of them, like how much cinematography makes a film stand out more than what's actually in the shot.
Certain
At times,
that have very
yeah.
like specific visual styles of their
Yeah,
films.
but that cracked me the fuck up.
That's
I was
funny.
like, oh, no one's ever gonna believe it, but I promised you it happened.
It
But
is an
yeah, it's been on my list
iconic
forever.
cornfield.
Yeah, it's been on my list forever,
Mm.
but unfortunately, the list gets longer.
You might have to watch it before Fantastic Four now.
Yeah, maybe. Rumors are mounting and growing stronger, and it's only logical at this point that the Fantastic Four trailer is expected to be revealed at the Super Bowl. I think it's guaranteed, or no, sorry, leaked and highly guaranteed as well that we're getting the second Superman trailer at the Super Bowl.
So I have a new want from the Super
Okay.
Bowl trailers, right? I've said originally I was like, I'm happy if we only get the Superman trailer at the Super Bowl. We've obviously got one already. And then when I was saying we should have like a proper American patriotic like advert that is Superman, and it's not really a trailer for the new film, but it's just obviously like, what if Marvel and DC collaborate and do a Superman and Fantastic Four like quirky sort of ad like that? Like, I don't know, have like them appear or something because they've traveled into Superman's world, or it's the two Superman and Mr. Fantastic doing an advert together or something. Like, imagine for the Super Bowl that those two brands come together to make a promotional thing for those two films because they're going to be the biggest, potentially the biggest superhero films.
It'll be interesting for sure. But I at this point, I think leaving it later than the Super Bowl for Fantastic Four is dangerous for the marketing timeline. And releasing it in the next 10 days before the Super Bowl is negligent.
Yeah, doing it for the Super Bowl makes sense.
Yeah.
Superman, I also would have been fine with it being at the Super Bowl, but like we knew James Gunn had it done and it was sat on a hard drive like a month ago. And if he'd waited this whole time, people would have been like, come on, just give us the fucking trailer. Like,
put it this way, since Barbenheimer, every 6 months people have grabbed two films they want to make the next Barbenheimer.
yeah.
Fantastic Four Superman is my Barbenheimer. And I did Barbenheimer. I watched them both in the same day. It was great. This is my Barbenheimer.
It's just like it to do
It's
it
too
at the
perfect,
Super
man.
Bowl. Like they could have some fun with like a advert and give us the actual Fantastic Four trailer.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow has started filming. For those unaware, I live very close to Leavesden Studios, where the DCU will be filming basically everything.
And then off you go on your weekends.
Yeah, Holly, I'm going to need you to send your best camera and your biggest lens. I'm going to go climb a tree. Yeah, the temptation to find a way onto that set and just demand a role as an extra until I either get arrested or given a role as an extra is incredibly real.
Give it like 3 months, and we might be breaking news on some leaked photos
that I definitely did not take.
that have like half of the pictures just covered in leaves.
Don't worry about it. But that's exciting. I'm excited for this film.
Yeah.
Ulrich Thompson has joined the cast of the Lantern series as Sinestro. Now, this was a bit of a shock to people because people didn't think Sinestro was going to be a part of the show. So Ulrich Thompson joining the cast, pretty cool. Originally, this was just a rumor.
Okay.
It was like rumors circulating that Ulrich Thompson is going to be Sinestro, and then he responded and going, "I think that's a good casting," which I love the energy. It's cool. I don't know much of his work. In fact, I know none of his work that I know of. I probably do know some of his work.
Yeah.
He's Danish. They make good villains. Oh, he's done a lot. He's done a lot of work. He is a seasoned professional. Right, let him cook. He did Allegro in 2005. Okay. Yeah, this man's been out here working.
This man has worked.
Yeah, an actual like working actor who's not just like no shade to Timothy Chalamet, someone who's like just done massive film after massive film every 2 or 3 years since they were like 12. So yeah, I mean that's always exciting. Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man has been renewed for 3 seasons on Disney Plus already, and the scripts are completed for season 2, and they're about halfway through the animation.
That is commitment that I enjoy.
Having now seen the first 2 episodes, I'm bouncing off the walls at this news. So I'm like, that is the pace you need for yearly release schedules.
Hopefully, because X-Men 97, did they confirm a season 3 of that?
Yes.
Yes, so they're doing the same for that. Like,
yeah,
very on board with them just like fully committing to these animated shows and giving us
absolutely,
plenty.
100%. I couldn't agree more. So Acolyte has been revealed to have been Disney Plus' second most watched show of 2024, beaten out narrowly by Percy Jackson season 1, which is very impressive. This further exacerbates the question of why wasn't it renewed. Now, I did some proper journalism. I found the site that was reporting it. I signed up and I got access to their entire report of streaming trends and stuff for the last year. And on that, it has the full 10 projects for Disney Plus.
Yeah.
And the time watched. So this is millions of minutes watched is the number I'm going to say.
The way they did the numbers is weird, but yeah.
So Percy Jackson, the Olympian season 1 had 3,070 million minutes watched. The Acolyte had 2,633 million minutes watched. So 400 million minutes less. Agatha All Along season 1, 2,200. Echo, 1,500. X-Men 97, 1,400, which for an animated show is actually quite impressive.
Yeah.
Star Wars The Bad Batch season 3, 923. Star Wars Skeleton Crew, which this is a lower number, but we have to remember it didn't start till the beginning of December, 914.
Which
is impressive. Ahsoka season 1, 841. The Mandalorian season 3, 811. The Mandalorian season 1, 693.
I thought that was funny.
That's incredible. That show came out 5 years ago.
Still been watched.
And it still was a top 10 show.
Do you know what's
But
also
this really
impressive?
does beg the question, why did the Acolyte not get renewed?
Well, before that, like Echo getting that high number as well on a very short show.
6 episodes at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, like that's...
Which does mean it had the whole year for people to find it, in fairness. But still, that's good.
Yeah. But yeah, Acolyte, I mean, I put it it's like, the copium I have seen from the Star Wars haters of that show of, oh, well, if 10 people just put that show on repeat, clearly that's what they're doing. They're just bolstering the numbers.
That's what we're doing. We're botting a show that's already been cancelled.
Yeah.
Get a fucking grip.
Like, it does. I mean, this leans into this whole thing that we've heard with Star Wars where they're like questioning their entire identity internally or whatever. Don't know what they're doing. It's just, this just adds to my belief that Disney just caved so quickly to the haters because they were just too scared to commit to something that wasn't Skywalker era. That thankfully Skeleton Crew's done well, and I think that will help.
That doing 900 million minutes in December is incredible.
But like, it's like, don't get me wrong, Acolyte was not perfect, but when it's got
But
that
let it
much watch
breathe.
time, like, yeah,
Yeah.
give it a chance. Like,
Gotta
a
let
second
stuff
season
breathe,
could have
man.
done a lot for that show.
Like I sent you the tweet when that was revealed, and I was like, "This has made me." I was over it. I was like, "Ah, it happened. It sucks." That was like a PTSD non flashback for me. I was like, "Fucking ridiculous! It was a good show. People clearly watched it. Why didn't you give it another chance?"
Here's my copium as an endurer of that show.
As an acolyte truther.
With this kind of now public discussion again of this show, and the ones that enjoyed it being like, look, it got this many views, why have you cancelled it? And the enjoyers are being a bit louder. It's also Disney. They can uncancel their own show if they want to. Like,
they are not
at the end of the
beholden
day,
to some studio or something.
no,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, they haven't cancelled it. They've just put it on a shelf and they've not confirmed a season 2 and aren't actively working towards a season 2. They could very easily just pull it off the shelf and go, okay, we're making a season 2. And do you know what I'd love? I'd love for them to say absolutely nothing, keep the actors quiet, and they just go out of nowhere in a year. They're just like, so we've got a season 2 of Acolyte coming out. You thought we'd cancelled it? Egg on your face.
And we're going to end on a little bit of sad/funny news. Okay. So, the voice actor for Spider-Man / Peter Parker in Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man is a gentleman named Hudson Thames. He is naturally doing interviews for his new show.
Yes.
And the headline that's gone viral from his interview with Collider, I believe it was with Collider, is, I was really worried it was going to be a really woke and annoying show, but I think we managed to avoid that. This naturally caused the same kind of bullshit arguments we see all the time. So we have a couple of things to discuss. A, as the interview points out, the writer of this interview is a genius. His first real job was voicing Spider-Man in What If Season 2.
Right.
That was 3-4 years ago.
Yeah.
Since then, he's done one other thing.
Right.
And then this. He might be worried about the wrong things. Maybe worry about being employed. Secondly, this actually, in my opinion, is a good thing. Because it, for once and for all, proves that these people who complain about stuff being woke have no fucking idea what they're talking about.
Yes.
Because how can you watch this show as the person in it and go, thank God we didn't do any woke shit? In the first episode, Peter's best mate comes out as gay by saying, Peter, if you don't ask her out, I will. And then his black best friend gets racially profiled. And then in the second episode, they gender and race swap Dr. Connors.
So
this is like the most woke shit possible in the best way. It absolutely should be. Spider-Man is like the wokest shit ever. But it just proves once and for all that these guys who complain about woke stuff don't know what they're complaining about.
Okay, so here's my kind of take on this situation. You've obviously got the people that complain about wokeness in shows. Woke to them is when there's a female lead.
Yeah.
Like, that's how brain dead they are about what is woke.
Not straight white man, must be woke.
You have then got, I'm sure internally, discussions about woke, because it's fucking all through the media. Like, of course those discussions are happening internally. And they don't, like, and their opinion is, we don't want to be seen, sort of what he's saying, of, we need to be careful not to be seen as too woke because it could harm, like, they're worried about
appealing to everyone.
Yeah. But what they class as woke is probably bad in your face woke, of like overly forcing stuff that like then harms the story, or like clearly is like, oh, you're not, this is no longer like just being inclusive. You are overly shoving this in our face for the sake of shoving it in our face. And I think this guy, obviously not doing a lot of voice acting, only experienced Marvel, has probably heard these conversations in these internal places and is regurgitating what he's heard, not really understanding what he's heard, in a kind of naive way of like, oh, this is what the execs have said, so I'm going to sound smart, but oh yeah, we were worried about being too woke.
Here's the thing, I do get that. I think you're giving him too much credit because the direct quote is, I was worried that we were going to do too much woke, annoying shit.
Yeah, but I think it's a case of like, you know, when he's heard that talked about, and because he's young, and then he's like, oh, I think the same.
How young is he?
I don't know. But like, young in the sense of like, he's not done a lot of work in the industry.
He's 30 years old.
Hey, I'm young.
You are ancient.
But no, in the sense
just,
of like, he's not done a lot. So
yeah,
like,
I do get that.
I wonder if part of it is more, unfortunately for him, he's kind of voicing some other opinion that's being told as his own opinion because he thinks that's the right opinion to have. And
yeah,
how much PR has he done before? Because we know that often is where people slip up and say things in the wrong way, kind of misword themselves. Of like,
I do get that.
Maybe he was worried about, he doesn't want the show to be like Disney to be trying to overforce wokeness, and that's what he meant by that. And that's a fine, like, yeah, of course you don't want a show to do that, but the way he's worded it, and then obviously as soon as that's given to the public hear the word woke and go mental with it.
It's ridiculous. It was a dumb thing to say, and I think
Yeah.
rightfully so. People are pissed off because no one kind of, let's be clear here, on the left is using woke in a negative way ever. They're like, it's just inclusion, what you're talking about. And then on the right, it's like you said, it's like, oh, it's a woman as the main character. What is this woke bullshit?
Yeah.
And him doing that and using them words, whether it was an innocent mistake, I've not being as forgiving in my interpretation as you are. I think he said exactly what he was thinking. And I think he's just exposed himself as a dumbass. And all I'm going to say is Spider-Man has a very rich history of brilliant voice actors.
Mm-hmm.
If he was to accidentally get punched in the throat in episode 1 of season 2 and his voice be irreparably changed, I don't think anyone is going to complain.
Well,
His voice acting is not so phenomenal that I'd be like,
No.
oh no, we can't lose him.
Like,
if they want to go get Josh Keaton and bring him back, because everyone loved Josh Keaton's Spectacular Spider-Man, I think everyone would, even the people who were like, oh, he was okay, will be like, yeah, but Josh Keaton, whoop whoop. Like, I don't know, fuck this guy. Using woke in a negative way whatsoever in an interview, whether you meant it in a negative way, in the way it's used by a lot of right-wing media, is irrelevant. Don't be a dumbass. You are working on one of the biggest IPs on planet fucking Earth. Make sure you know what you're going to say.
Yeah,
the worst thing you could do is sound ignorant.
Yeah, no, I think he's dumb in his use of what he said, and I think he's dumb because he's not real. Like, he obviously doesn't see necessarily how, like, you just using the word woke is immediately going to skew some views of what you've said. And like, yeah, that's, to me, that is part and parcel. He's probably just young and a bit dumb and bad PR training. And at the end of the day, like you were saying, the right wing uses woke all the time. Realistically, the left side don't actually use the word woke.
No, they just say the right co-opted it as just this horrible thing.
Yeah, that word now is just used to hate stuff. So it's like, I'm surprised these actors aren't being given more PR on just like, if that word's brought up, you circle, like you redirect around that word and don't use that word.
Dip, dodge, dive, duck and dodge. Like,
yeah,
cannot be having it.
But yeah, the show's great. So tough shit to the people that wanted to hate it. because it's
And let's be
great.
clear, I'm like, if I need to laugh, I'm gonna go find the tweets of the people who saw that he said it's not woke, got really excited, and then went
Yeah,
and watched them first
I
episodes.
I did see.
Oh,
Yeah, I knocked my empty cup. I did see one thing, which was obviously like a funny take on like the whole situation, which is like, oh, this is a plant by Disney to try and entice the right wing side into their watching their show because it's all marketing.
you know what? I would kind of love it if someone did like a deep dive on his social media, and it turned out he was liberal as fuck, and he did do it to bait him.
It's
Well,
like PR
I
was
will
like,
happen. Yeah,
use the word woke because it's going to get us a lot of viewers that probably would write this show off.
we know the show is woke as fuck, so the people who are going to give it a chance anyway will be like, oh, he's just an idiot, and
Yep.
the right wing will give it a chance, and then too dumb to realize it's woke, so they'll just be like, yeah, he said it's not woke, let's go. But yeah, it just cracked me up. It's just if you get the chance to be Spider-Man, like if they hired me to be
Oh, yeah.
Spider-Man, I would delete all social media, not because I'm scared of the public, just so that I cannot put my foot wrong, so that I can be Spider-Man for as long as possible. Like I'm telling you right now, there are a million people with Spider-Man-ish voices right now calling their agent, going, "Are they trying to replace him? Can you get me in for the audition?" It's happening. I'm telling you. They might not be trying to replace him, but everyone is calling their agent, going, "Can you get me in an interview?" Like, it's happening.
Here's my question to you then. Marvel comes to you and says they want to use you as a voice actor, which means they recognize you as being good enough to be a voice actor for one of their things, and it's Spider-Man. But you know that, say you know they need a Gambit down in an X-Men show, but they haven't hired it. Do you risk saying yes to Spider-Man's, meaning then you can't be double cast?
If Marvel asked me to be Spider-Man, I am dropping you and moving to America so fast, you
Why?
might
You're a
think
voice
I've
actor. You don't
died.
need to go there. Do it from home.
Doesn't matter. I'm in LA now, bitch.
Hey, I'm on US time zones. We could still do the podcast.
Here's my thing with that. I love Gambit. I like even in this world where like I'm a brilliant voice actor who's like the master of disguising my voice. I don't think I could do a very good Gambit. I think that's such a difficult accent to do really well. I think with the right vocal coach, I could learn a good enough Queen's accent to get by. I mean, British actors have proven time and time again they make the best Spider-Man. Maybe it's my time. Hudson Thames, your days are limited. But yeah, it's just funny, isn't it? But that is it this week. Next week we will be back with your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man preview on Captain America, because we've got a new film coming soon.
Yes.
Yeah, it's all getting there. We'll have previews and other stuff coming up. We've got a busy start to the year now. Ironically, missing last week was like the best week we could have missed.
Yeah.
Because from now until like the end of April, I think
totally
it's just chaos.
That.
Yeah, calculated as anything. Anyway, like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.